Back here on SportsLine as we get set for another weekend of football. And it is a big weekend of college football after kind of taking week 2 off, in essence. The schedule just wasn't very juicy last weekend, with the exception of the Battle of Bristol, which saved the day around here and also around the country on a relatively tame Saturday. Although the games lived up to the hype in a lot of ways. They were good football games at times in unexpected settings last weekend. This weekend, though, you've got some games on paper that look like they're pretty good. We talked about Alabama-Ole Miss earlier. That's going to be a big one in the SEC West. Can Ole Miss continue its mastery of Nick Saban and the Tide and win again for a third consecutive year? Or has the past 2 seasons gotten Alabama's attention, and will the Tide be ready to go as they hit the Grove on Saturday? You've got the other 2 games to look out for this weekend involving top 3 teams against ranked teams. Again, the top 3 teams in the Associated Press Bowl taking on ranked teams here in the 3rd week of the season. In early September, you get a chance to sort some things out. You've got Ohio State, who hasn't played anybody yet, but the offense has looked impressive. Remember a year ago when so much was talked about the Buckeyes coming off of the national championship? People thought that they were definitely the team to beat moving forward to repeat as national champions. And they just were never able to get the offense going. It was J.T. Barrett and Cardale Jones. Urban Meyer tried to play them both. He couldn't really figure it out. The offense just never got going all season long until finally the very end of the year. They got to go in the last couple games of the season after they lost to Michigan State. This season, the Buckeyes have been on all cylinders with a new cast of characters, but J.T. Barrett as the guy, the undisputed guy in Columbus. They've been going well, but now they face a tough task on the road in Norman against Oklahoma. That stadium is renovated. Those fans are excited to have a big-time game in Norman, which doesn't always happen, considering they play that Texas game in Dallas every year. This is a game they're looking forward to against the Buckeyes, and an opportunity to get some redemption after dropping that opening weekend game against Houston. Baker Mayfield is still a prolific quarterback that can get himself back into the Heisman race with a big game on Saturday. And you've got that backfield of Pirine and Mixon that can be so talented and so good, and one of the best 1-2 combinations in the country. We'll see how they do against the Buckeyes. I think it'll be interesting because Oklahoma's got to be desperate in that game. Ohio State's going to try and prove that they are a legit national championship contender again this year, despite everything they lost. I think we find out a lot about both in that football game on Saturday. And the other game that has my attention is up in Louisville. The Cardinals, who have had the best player in the country so far, albeit against not great competition. Lamar Jackson has been incredible. He has 13 touchdowns and over 1,000 total yards in 2 weeks. They were playing Charlotte and Syracuse, so it's not exactly the Jets and Patriots. But still, I don't care who you're playing. If you put up those type of video game numbers, you're having a heck of a start to the year. And Lamar Jackson was a guy that if you're in college football circles and you read a lot or you talk to people, a lot of people saw this coming. He's a freakish athlete with all sorts of talents. He can throw, he can run. We saw him hurdle over a guy on Friday night in Syracuse. He's a big-time talent. Last year it was very raw, and we saw some glimpses. But the word was if he could kind of put it all together, watch out. He could be the next big thing in college football. And through 2 weeks, he's been the best thing in college football. But now he gets a big test. As Florida State comes in, you've got Dalvin Cook, who's another Heisman candidate, DeAndre Francois, their young quarterback, who they're hoping can continue to grow up and almost have the Jameis Winston type of effect in terms of leadership and confidence for this Florida State team. After the way they came back against Ole Miss in week 1 and then a blowout last weekend over Charleston Southern, you got to believe they've got a lot of confidence going on the road. That'll be interesting, and it is an ACC game. So a huge opportunity for both to get a marquee win early on in the season. big opportunity in the Heisman race as well for a couple guys who a lot of people expect to be there at the end. So fascinating games this weekend on the college football slate for sure. The Titans head to Detroit this weekend, kickoff just after noon over on News Channel 5 Sunday afternoon. Lions look terrific in Indianapolis. Matthew Stafford with a big day passing. I believe 3 touchdowns, 300-plus yards. He's got a stable of guys to throw to, including Nashville native Golden Tate. The Titans trying to bounce back from the loss against the Vikings, cut out all those turnovers, and play a complete 60-minute game at Ford Field on Sunday. There were some positives, though, in the loss to the Vikings. Things to look for moving forward. We got a taste of what they might do in the backfield. We saw a rookie really step up on Sunday. And the defense showed a lot by shutting the Vikings offense out of the end zone for the entire afternoon. We talked with safety Rashad Johnson at the smart screen on Sunday night on the Electric Power Company Sunday Sports Central to get some video breakdowns of some things to look for with this Titans team moving forward. Thank you, John. We now bring Rashad over here to the smart screen to break down some of the positives from this game on video. And Rashad, I think we saw it right from the very first couple of plays with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry in the backfield together, something we didn't see a whole lot of in the preseason despite their productivity. How tough will this look make it on defenses to prepare moving forward?
Yeah, it makes it really tough because you have to be on your keys. You're not sure who's getting the ball between DeMarco or Derrick, and here on the first play, we have a positive game. And then they come back the very next play, motion DeMarco out, bring Derrick in, possibility here of a run-pass option, as you see, and they decide to run it, and it's still a positive game, and that's what we want to be.
Certainly a new look for defenses to look at, although I'm sure Mike Mularkey would like to see more production out of those two guys than the combined 18 carries and 45 yards that they got on Sunday. The offense got picked up, though, by rookie wideout Tajay Sharp.
Yes.
How good is this kid?
This kid's very good. I mean, beats his defender off the line, catches it here, first down, moves the chains. And I mean, he's been doing it all training camp. We have a ton of confidence in him. Great catch here. Defenders all over him.
That's great coverage.
Great coverage. Goes up, moves the chains again for us. I mean, he's been doing it week in and week out. One more time for us. He knows he's going to get contact, so he catches it with his body, moves the chains again, 3rd and long. I mean, this kid is unbelievable.
7 catches for 76 yards in his debut. And then on defense, you guys held defending rushing champ Adrian Peterson to just 31 yards on 19 carries. And you did it by loading the box and swarming.
That's it. I mean, we knew he was going to get a lot of carries with Teddy Bridgewater out of the game. We wanted to load the box. We wanted to swarm as a defensive unit. And as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in the box basically on this run play. And we're forcing you to, hey, pass it outside and beat us. They decided to give it to Adrian Peterson, and this was the result as it was the entire game. Defensively, we set the edge here with Norris, and we're swarming as a unit.
Loss of a couple yards there. You had the results you wanted against AD, not the results you wanted on the scoreboard, but certainly something to build on in a long season. Titan safety Rashad Johnson in studio on Sunday night with us, giving you a really good inside take from the Titans roster inside the locker room and what they were thinking in those games. Now he looks forward from what happened on Sunday. And in this next clip with John Burton, the final take from Sunday night, he talks about a positive of the way the team bounced back and then didn't bounce back in the second half and how they need to work through that. But also looking forward to this game Sunday in Detroit against the Lions. Take a look. It's the final take.
All right, Rashad, when you look at today's game, it was certainly a tale of two halves, right? First half, Dre Johnson, the future Hall of Famer, drops that touchdown pass. But unlike years past, this team bounces right back. Mariota hits DeMarco Murray, makes a great effort to get into the end zone. Cut to the second half. Marcus throws that pick 6, and the team just wasn't able to respond. It really goes to show that NFL football is a game of 60 minutes, right?
Definitely. I mean, we know the NFL game, 60 minutes, and you have to play the entire game. The first half, we came out solid. Exactly how we wanted to do, run the ball, set the momentum, play good defense. And it was a tale of two halves because of the turnovers. It's something that you strive to do defensively, and unfortunately, we weren't able to get any, but they were.
Well, the bad news is you guys are 0-1. The good news is there seem to be a lot of positives you guys can take away from today's game, and you have 15 more games to go starting next week in Detroit.
Yeah, well, we understand that this season is a marathon. It's 15 weeks left. We got a lot of football to play. We head to Detroit next week. You have to have short memory in this league. You have to play the game, win or lose, forget it. On Monday, it's time to get to work on the next team.
It is a marathon and not a sprint. Rashad, we really appreciate you stopping by the studio on a game day. Have a great week of practice, and we'll see you next week in Detroit.
Thank you.
Titan safety Rashad Johnson, great effort with him all Sunday night. Giving us a lot of stuff from inside the locker room. Fun to have that player perspective on the show. Phone line's still open here on the show if you'd like to get involved. 737-7767 is the number. And we go to the phones and David. David, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
Well, I want to talk about, I don't know if this is topic tonight, but I'm just going to take it here. I want to talk about Alabama.
Okay.
Can I say, we'll be #1 all year. Is going back to the championship. Is going to win it. Jalen Hurts, true freshman. Let me say it again. True freshman is out here balling, no interceptions. They're going, all you UT fans, y'all need to buckle y'all seatbelt because you're not going nowhere. Have a great day.
All right, David, thank you. Here's the thing. I like Jalen Hurts a lot. He won me over with that first throw against USC in Jerry's World a couple weekends ago when he just bombed it over the top of the defense and showed off that tremendous arm strength he has. He looks like a star, a future star for sure, maybe already a star. But here's the thing about Saturday at Ole Miss. It'll be a true freshman on the road in a hostile environment for the first time. Let's see how he handles that. Can he go in there and keep his composure and keep from getting rattled? And if, like we saw from the Titans over the weekend, if he makes a mistake, if he throws an interception or a pick six in the game, can he bounce back and still be the guy we've seen so far this year? Look, Alabama looks really good. That game against USC was an absolute beatdown. And that looked like an Alabama team that could do exactly what David just said. Go on and win another national championship this year and continue that dynasty. But they're going to get a bigger test this weekend. And when you looked at that sideline at the end of the game last week, despite beating what I think is a pretty good Western Kentucky team and taking them to the woodshed, Nick Saban was going berserk on the sideline, yelling at Lane Kiffin, yelling at other assistants. And he said afterwards and early on this week that was not an acceptable performance. That isn't Alabama football. And so you get the feeling he's sending a message before the Ole Miss game. They've lost this game the last 2 years. You get the feeling Nick Saban's trying to prep his guys that's not good enough. It's time to reach the Alabama standard and live up to the script A and that number on the side of your helmet and the number 16 of the national championships that they've claimed, or 17 or whatever it is now. It's time for them to pick it up, and they're going to have to, because this is going to be the first big test at Ole Miss on Saturday. And we'll find out a lot more about the Crimson Tide, and if they are truly the favorites still, if they can go wire to wire as the #1 team in the country, be the first team in a long time to do that. And if Jalen Hurts is the real deal, he looks like it. He's a guy that they're excited about. He's played well so far. We'll find out if he can do it on the road in a hostile SEC environment on Saturday. Friday Night Football just around the corner. We're going to talk some high school football coming up next. Preview our Game of the Week choices. Find some key players to watch and some teams to watch for in the pursuit of the gold ball this year in Tennessee. Mo Patton joining us on the show right after this. Stay with us. More SportsLine on the way here on News Channel 5+.